Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yay, so let's see here. This is going to be a first. Oh, no instant takeoff this time. We gotta wait just a tiny bit here. Let's see. I think that this should be good. I don't know. We'll just go with this. So let's go. Go, 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 go. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, so it's been a while, guys. How have you been? I have been very, very busy. I have had way too much stuff to do. And I really do apologize for not having videos out for a while. I'm really looking forward to having more videos out in a more regular fashion as compared to recently, but even though all this stuff has been going on, I've been still growing, and to all you new people, welcome. I just want you to know that there will be more videos out at a better frequency than it is right now. I have just been unbelievably overworked with college. I have had 2 tests the last week and paper due, and this week I had a paper due and no tests, but still I have just been unbelievably just stressed out with all of this stuff, along with the not having videos out on a regular basis has just kind of stressed me out, because I feel like I should be doing more, and I have like completely almost gave up for, not like completely gave up on my channel, but just completely gave up for a few days because I just couldn't handle doing any of it. I had to read a lot of books and do a lot of work, and I will tell you right now, college, at least right now, is just not an easy thing to just... One does not simply enter college without any real problems. But luckily I am on my last semester. I will be done very soon, and I won't have to worry about this stuff. I got spring break next week, so I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more and possibly just kind of keeping up the same amount of effort and really doing as much as I possibly can. But for right now, we will be continuing our construction on our mega ship here. It's looking pretty amazing. That's all I gotta say, guys. I don't know about you, but I am definitely pretty happy with the progress. The only thing I will say is, it wasn't the last episode, but the episode before that. Like, I kind of felt bad about using basically a completely modded, 100% modded rocket, and I don't really want to do stuff like that, but I mentioned it before of the amount of time it takes to build some of these rockets and to really get the testing done and get everything working 100%, where a launch will just be flawless. And I do say, I did work on this rocket a lot, and you can see that this will probably be my new heavy lifter. I mean, I do gotta change a few things here and there. You guys can see that doesn't really look so good and everything else, but I'm planning on trying to make it a little bit better and really work on it. But this takeoff here, I will say, won't be the most conventional for the amount of engines and everything else I have, and that looks freaking awesome. It won't be the most conventional, I will say that, so I do know that there are better ways of me doing this. Oh god, that happened. Yeah, I've been trying to solve this problem, and I could have probably easily solved it by putting a strut or 2 on here, but I have just kind of given up on it. And I tried to strut a few times, but it really just didn't change much. So, you know, we're going to roll with this. I do say we're probably going to be alright. You can tell right here that this isn't connected in any kind of way, but we're going to ride out this rocket, the full rocket anyways, because this stage will not get us to orbit. We actually do need a little bit of this stage. So, it looks like we are getting fairly close to our target, even though the takeoff isn't the most conventional, I will say that. But yeah, so I mean, I'm really looking forward. My DayZ, I'm really glad you guys are liking the DayZ footage. I really have been trying to you know, do a little bit different stuff with my channel, and I kind of want to do a few different things. The one game I did buy, for those of you who are following me on Steam and stuff like that, I did just buy South Park, and I was considering doing footage for that, but I really don't know if I really have a channel that... I really don't know with South Park. It's one of those kind of games where it has a lot of very X-rated content and things like that, and I really don't know if that is really the best thing for my channel. I don't really want to get too big into that. So, I mean, if anything, maybe I'll make another channel or something like that, but I don't want to get myself in trouble because there is a lot, just an absolute ton of stuff on that game. And I will say, I am a big fan of South Park. I don't know a lot about a lot of you guys, but I love it. So, let's see here. Hopefully, it looks like we might just make it, but I think we're going to be a little bit behind the orbit of this guy. So, I don't know how much. We're slowly catching up, but it's catching up with us roughly, what, that's about 800 meters a second. So, I don't know how far we're really going to get with this. But this should make the docking a little bit better, a little bit easier. I want to do this too because of the fact that our engine that we have on here does not have a lot of thrust. It is a very, very low amount of thrust. It's, what, I think it's 140 newtons total. And that's just not a lot for this stage. This is like just under 100 tons. For a stage, or for, not a stage, but, you know, for a part to launch. The one thing I will be covering, too, shortly, is this stage itself, and basically what I had to do to get this to work, because there's a lot of things that I had to do, and I really didn't enjoy the way that it turned out, but this is the best I could get, and I tried to make sure it was, like, 100% legit, at least as far as how it worked, and how it consumes and everything else. But hopefully you guys will forgive me a little bit on this one, because I really couldn't figure out a way. I'm not very good at modding parts and stuff like that. And the welding mod, which for those of you who don't have the welding mod and need it, look down. I'm pointing down towards the description, even though you guys can't see me. Look down in there. There's a fixed version of the welding mod. It doesn't work 100%. It's not the best version of it, and it's far from the best version. And I didn't create the mod or anything like that. I'm not trying to take any kind of personal you know, responsibility that it's my creation or anything like that. It's far from it. But this mod right here, what I'm using for the welding mod, will allow you to create parts. Basically, this is, like, you know, 30 parts, even though this looks like it's probably about 100. So with this part, the one thing I did do is I ended up combining a bunch of nuclear reactors, and with the welding mod, it doesn't really like connecting stuff together that has different purposes. It has different kinds of controls or anything like that. It really doesn't like that. It really doesn't work out that well. So one of the things I had to do is mod it in order for it to produce the same amount of power as 7 nuclear reactors would produce, which one nuclear reactor produces about 2,000 units a second of power at full capacity. So this thing will produce roughly about 12 to 14,000. I don't know if I set it for 12 or if I set it to 14, but, you know, I'll find that out soon enough. And I kind of left it at that. You know, a lot of the things I didn't really want. I didn't want this to be too OP, but, you know, the only real thing that it can't do is melt down. The normal reactors can melt down. The problem is that there's some kind of coding in the part that I can't get it to work correctly. I tried, and I couldn't. If somebody out there can fix it, that would be much appreciated. Another thing that I would really think would be awesome is if somebody out there could possibly try to fix is I'm trying to create an ion engine that's multiple engines all together, but the problem is that when I weld them, the animation for the engine doesn't work anymore. So those are the two things right now that I've been really trying to work on, and it really hasn't come out that well. So Anyways, guys, I'll see you once we're getting a little bit closer to docking up this bad boy. It's going to take me a little while to get this guy into orbit, along with rendezvousing, so I'll see you then. And we've at least reached this thing. But my god, it was just, that burn was insane. I really don't like launching really big stuff with just a really tiny engine to work with, because it really does cause a lot of problems when you're trying to dock and just kind of maneuver around space. It's just really cumbersome, and it just takes way too long, way longer than it should, I should say. And it's, I don't know, I have fun with it, but at the same time, I really wish it was just a little bit, this thing was just a tiny bit faster. It just takes way too long. So yeah, I mean, I've really been trying to work on this thing, and I've been trying to add on all the parts I possibly can, and trying to keep it as quote-unquote legit as possible. I mean, I really do know that there really isn't going to be a legit, it's obviously all modded parts and stuff like that, but I'm really trying to work around the mods. I'm really not trying to create something that's just a complete monster and it's not even realistic in any kind of way. I'm really trying to go for as much realism as I possibly can, but you know, the reaches a point with this game that, you know, no matter how much realism you keep adding, it really doesn't get too far. So let's see what we can get. Come on. Is this going to be a very nice and easy docking compared to my last ones? I don't know, but it really does seem like this is going to be fairly simple. We didn't burn too much fuel, which is a good thing. I mean, we do have roughly, you know, that's not that bad at all. The one thing I do say is that I had a few launches with this thing before, because it's just testing and retesting and making sure everything just kind of falls together real nicely. I ended up with not very much fuel a couple times, so I was a little concerned that I might have run out of fuel at some point, but we're going to use this rest of the fuel to kind of ferry this thing out a little bit further. The one thing I did do too is I emptied out basically everything out of this stage in order to launch it. It was, even the hydrogen I emptied, even though it really wasn't that much. It's just these tanks on the outside right here. still adds weight, and that weight, you know, at the end of the day, I'm saving just a little bit extra on launch and everything else, and it did help out, and it did make it able for me to actually get this thing into orbit. So the reactors themselves, they do produce a lot of heat, which I do have radiators on here. You can see all these radiators that are all the way around. Now, I made sure that there's just enough radiators for the amount of nuclear power that we're using, and I didn't, you know, change. I did change all that stuff when I built this part, because basically when you build a part like this where they're all connected, I don't know if I mentioned this, basically it will only take the attributes from one. So this whole thing would have only produced 2,000 units of power, which isn't what I was looking for. And for the size of this module and the weight, I really do need as much as I possibly can. So it's just a very big balancing act between trying to keep everything as legit as possible, but you're not really going to be able to get as much with the welding mod. And I really didn't like the fact that I couldn't weld on the radiators. There was no way for me to weld those either, because the animations don't work, like I said, with the engines. So that was kind of a big letdown, among other things, and we need to slow down here just a tidbit. I don't like coming in real fast for these kind of dockings, because it usually doesn't end very well. There we go. We just need to come down a little bit. I think I'm going to slow down even more. Let's see if this is just a nice and simple docking. I really hope it was. Let's see. That is not connected. Oh, that's beautiful. So, let's see. Alright, these are connected. So, I'll undock this guy. This one's probably docked. Yep. And this one. There we go. So yeah, this is the other thing that happens. I think I've showed you guys this before, but basically, when you're using so many docking ports, undocking becomes a bit of an issue. Just a tidbit. It doesn't like to undock, only because of the fact that you have so many docking ports. Some of them didn't dock up perfectly, so it needs to undock all of them and redock all of them, and it's just a headache in itself at some point. So let's see. The SAS is on this module. It's not on this one. We'll try to back up using RCS and then just kind of reconnect it real quick and see if... generally, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of wobbliness and then it will throw you off, but sometimes you can just get lucky when you disconnect and you can just come right back and nothing has really shifted in any kind of way. I'll turn off the SAS and the RCS, and maybe that will give us what we want. There we go. So we got a dock here. It needs to say dock on this side, so we got a dock on here. Here's good. Here's even better. That's good. Good. And perfect. So let's see, we'll turn on the lights. That is looking awesome. So I did figure out that my graphic lag that I'm getting with this has to do with the lighting, and just because I guess it's rendering so many different shades that it's just like taking a dump as soon as I turn this on. So if I turn it off, my frame rate is like perfectly fine. Turn it on and it's like, oh god. So I'm thinking maybe I might end up setting some of these lights, just like these lights here, the little white ones, I might end up setting those to always being on, because it does kind of help out when you're trying to dock inside the docking bays that I do have. It really does help. So I guess I'll show you this. I'll fire up, I'll turn on the radiators. Radiators, please. There we go. That is looking sexy. So I'll turn that off. You can see my frame rate just goes right back up. And that's not right. I guess I'm going to have to fix this. I'm probably going to have to do a relaunch now. That really stinks. Let's see. Yeah, some of these didn't get binded in the groups. Okay, yeah, I see what I did. That's fine. I can just retract these. I don't need that one anyways. It's not that big of a deal. I guess this got set differently, so... Wait, no. Yeah, that one comes back out. Come back out, radiator. We need you. Deploy. Any day now. That didn't look good. Oh, I don't know if you guys could see that, but the whole ship was just like, ah! And that isn't looking so good. I don't know if I'm going to keep this, to be honest, but I guess I could just show you guys what I got for right now. That does not look good in any kind of way. Oh, that doesn't look good. I take it this part actually broke off. That I am going to probably have to go for another redesign on this. I don't like how this one's clipping in there. I intended this one to come in, or come out, and this one to be in, because I don't like stuff clipping. That doesn't look nice to me. I set this up to where it's supposed to look like that, but you know what can I do here? So I'll show you guys the nuclear reactor control. So basically you can turn off the safety limits, which is always the most smart thing to do, and you can fire it up, and you can see that we're starting to produce a very large amount of power in a very short time. And right now our battery, we have a very large battery source, so I'm fairly confident with all this. So once we fire this thing up and it starts to get cooking pretty high, you'll see the radiators start to actually heat up, which they're doing right now. But this isn't looking so good. I am not very happy with how this turned out as far as them clipping in there like that. I might end up redesigning this a little bit and changing things. So hopefully everything will work out very well. So let's see. We'll get rid of this one. See, that's not good, because we're going to end up having a meltdown because we're not dispersing enough heat. Now, the heat is building up slowly, and I could not really figure out a way to make it more legit as far as how much heat gets built up. So, let's see. Retract this one since it's clipping and just making things go crazy. This one, too. So I planned on this to look a little bit better, but I think, if anything, maybe I'll shift these out a little bit more so they kind of go over the top of this. Maybe that will look a little bit better. But anyways, guys, we have our radiators. They look freaking awesome. We have our whole nuclear... Ooh, that's not good. We have our whole nuclear reactor set up, and I do gotta say, this thing is looking freaking awesome, and I can't wait to add on a lot of fuel tanks. So anyways, guys, if you like what you see here, subscribe. To all you new people, welcome. And yeah, I will see you next time.